Well, good afternoon. We're a few minutes behind time because I had some technical difficulties, but thank you for joining me for this week's Thinking Tuesday message. You know that every Tuesday we join for a few minutes just to check out how our thinking is serving us, and whether or not we need to make any changes. Last week we talked about doing a little home renovation, and sometimes we have to do a little innovation, a little thought revision. So it never hurts to check in to see how we're thinking and whether or not our thinking is serving us. So, welcome to Thinking Tuesday. I am so happy to hear from so many of you. I've been hearing from so many of you about how these messages on Thinking Tuesday are helping you to become more aware of how much you can get in the way, how much we can get in our own way of advancing based on our thinking, and beginning to be so much more aware of how what we think leads to how we feel and the decisions we make. So kudos to you. I am talking about this because of a little encounter, a surprise encounter I had at the supermarket earlier last week actually. I ran into someone by the name of Beverly who I don't know, I didn't know, but she recognized me, and she started to talk to me about um, how she's been impacted by these Thinking Tuesday messages. She remembered specifically one of my messages. She didn't really see it on the live broadcast, but she knows that all of my messages from Thinking Tuesday are stored on my YouTube channel. So that's where she saw this message. And it had a particular meaning for her. I guess the title, the title was catchy also. If some of you remember it, and if you didn't hear it, you can go back to my YouTube channel and see the message that I shared several weeks ago called Stinking Thinking. Stinking Thinking. And if you recall, or if you did not know, stinking thinking has to do with some of those negative thoughts that lead us to make decisions without thinking about the long term consequences. It feels good, so I'm going to do it. You know, I can rationalize why I'm doing it. We don't think about the consequences. You know, these are decisions of convenience, and we rationalize the possible negative outcomes because they're not happening right now. And a lot of that is what we call stinking thinking. Eventually, they don't lead us to where we'd like to go, and it leads us in places that are very difficult to live in, very difficult to get out of sometimes, but nothing is ever impossible. So it's really a descriptive term, that stinking thinking. It's really a descriptive term that was developed in the rooms of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and I became aware of them as I was working in that field and attended some AA meetings with some of my clients at the time, and this is a type of thinking that is identified by those in AA who are trying to give up drinking and become more aware of how much time, so much time they invested in thinking that did not encourage them to see a way out of their alcoholism, of the life situations that they were in as a result of the drinking. It was about those thinking patterns that would not hold them accountable for the decisions they made, the behavior they got involved in, thinking patterns that always place the blame outside of themselves, put the blame on and responsibility on someone else. That's what stinking thinking is all about. So even though it developed in AA, you know, it's something that we all, you know, might experience from time to time, some of us more than others. So becoming aware, you can see that becoming aware of your thinking really drives your behavior. And that is a must. It is a must when we want to change the results that we're getting. If you want to change the results, tap into your thinking. How is your thinking driving your behavior? We don't have to be an alcoholic, as I said before. to indulge in this kind of stinking thinking. We don't. We just have to be human, you know. Beverly's not. Beverly's not an alcoholic, but she found this message fascinating as she recognized herself in that message. She recognized herself in that message and realized that it was her thinking that had been keeping her stuck, seeing only the challenges as she's been facing recently rather than seeing opportunities and possibilities. So her thinking kept her stuck in a way that she did not see possibilities. All she saw were challenges. And much of her challenges, she says, began to because of her self-limiting thinking. Her self-limiting thinking and seeing obstacles rather than seeing possibilities, believing that she couldn't, sometimes believing that she was not worthy, and seeing others really as the reason for her non-advancement professionally, because that's the area in which she was stuck. And she began to be able to begin to take some steps as she began to recognize this thinking pattern that all of the causes were outside of her, that it was somebody else, it was the supervisor, it was her coworkers, and whoever else. She began to take steps, and she feels very good, she tells me, about the steps that she's been taking, the actions that she's been taking. So it starts with your thinking. So if this is Beverly's story, I am positive that many of you out there who listen to Thinking Tuesday are beginning to have a better understanding of the power that you have to control your thoughts and direct them in ways that are going to be much more beneficial to you than what you've been doing. Sometimes we really, really have to get out of our way, get out of our head, and take a break from those thinking patterns that work against us. Because, as I mentioned before, they are in the driver's seat. So the way we think determines the way we live. If I don't think I stand a chance, for instance, if I don't think I stand a chance to get that promotion, let's say, then where my attention goes, my energy is going to flow. I'm not going to be motivated to do anything to plan for or even put myself in the running to get that promotion. In fact, I'm not even going to recognize the opportunity, even if it's staring me in the face. I'm not going to, because I've already counted myself out. So I'm not even looking for it. The opportunity could be there staring me in the face. And because I'm thinking negatively, I'm thinking that I'm a victim, for instance, that others don't like me. My supervisor has favorites. I work hard and nobody compliments me. Whatever the situation is, if I continue that negative thinking and I count myself out for this possibility of a promotion, then I'm not even going to begin to think about the possibility that there's another way of going about this. So, you may have heard the quote. You may have heard the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up, right? The teacher will appear. Well, simply stated, it means that when we have an open mind, we will begin to learn. We'll be more able to learn because we have an open mind. And I want to modify that just a bit and say that when we keep an open mind, and we are willing to challenge those self-limiting and self-defeating thinking patterns, we open ourselves to doing things that we thought were once impossible, things that we didn't feel that we could do. When we keep an open mind, when we review our thoughts, when we challenge our thinking, when we dare to change our thinking. It also reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by the late Wayne Dyer, right? He said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And I just absolutely love that because it begins with us. How do we think? Do we have an open mind to see the possibilities? Are we willing to challenge our thinking, our way of seeing things? As we think about seeing things differently, as we think about how can I look at this? How can I think about this differently? As we begin to open the possibility of thinking differently, we become enlightened. We become enlightened. Things that we were once blind to, we begin to see. We begin to see, begin to understand, we begin to see possibilities. And we see those possibilities rather than just the challenges. And challenges are not necessarily things we run from, but we embrace them so that we can find new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. It really begins with our thinking. I just can't emphasize that enough. So, Beverly, I congratulate you and thank you for stopping me in the supermarket and sharing this testimonial with me. Thank you and all the others who are willing to challenge any stinking thinking that might be holding you back from achieving what you desire. Because that's where it starts. Check your thinking. Get out of your head. Change the way you think. Change the way you see things. Talk to someone. Ask them to help you to think through or to challenge some of what you're thinking. Why aren't things working out for me? Help me to see that because we all have blind spots. And I also thank you, Beverly, for the testimonial of how these Thinking Tuesday messages have impacted you or are impacting you because you say you continue to listen to them. So I thank you so much. And we got a chuckle out of this because you are even able to recite back our Thinking Tuesday motto, which is your mind is a garden and your thoughts are the seeds. And you can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. And it was so nice to hear Beverly recite that back to me. She knew it by heart. And that's great. So even that little poem can help us to check our thoughts and think about, what is it that I'm thinking that's leading me to feel the way I'm feeling? And what is it that I'm feeling that's causing me to make these decisions? And are these decisions working for me or are they working against me? So thank you for being able to recite that poem for me because that's our guiding motto. The you're able to recognize your stinking thinking as those weeds that we talk about, that we refer to, and you've begun to replace them with flowers, which are those positive, self-affirming, reinforcing thoughts that are moving you now towards your professional goals. So I commend you for that, Beverly. Congratulations to you and all the Beverlys out there, because this is what Thinking Tuesday is about, to give you something to think about, something that you can use, something that you can be aware of to enlighten you to the power that you have, the power of your thoughts, and that you are the only one that can change your thoughts. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And as you change your thinking, you change your life. But remember, you can always reach out to me. Beverly happened to run into me in the supermarket. But remember, you can always reach out to me if you need a thinking partner, if you find yourself in one of those thinking patterns that's keeping you stuck, for instance, or you know where you want to go, but you just don't know how to take the next step. You don't even know what the next step is. So sometimes we have these desires and we have ideas, or we're in a place where we don't like where we are. We know we can do better. We want to do better. And we're just stuck. What's the next step? Reach out to me. Might not be in the supermarket, but I'll give you the way to reach out to me right now. It is my website, which is drcherylburton.com. I will be honored to help you think through whatever challenge you're going through. This will be a complimentary, confidential consultation to help you find your next step, to help you get that idea off the ground, to help you find a way out of that challenging situation because you know there's more to you than where you are right now. So I'll be happy to do that. Reach out to me on my website, drcherylburton.com. And if you have found value in this message, please share it with others who can benefit. And if you want to go back to hear some of my previous messages or you want to refer someone to my previous messages, then those are stored on my YouTube channel. That is Thinking Tuesday Cheryl Burton. Thinking Tuesday Cheryl Burton. That's my YouTube channel. And while you're there, please subscribe. Please subscribe so that I can continue these messages and serving you in that way. So I hope this has added value to you based on Beverly's testimonial. These have been, and I don't doubt them because I know that this works because I don't share anything that I have not experienced myself. So I have learned to readily and often tap into my thinking. If I'm not getting the results that I would like, why am I not getting them? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Going back to my thoughts, how are they fueling what's being put forward? So we know that our thoughts are the most powerful thing that we have, and we are the only ones that should be in control or that are in control. Sometimes we want people to think for us, but we have to think for ourselves because the people that think for you will control what you do. So you always want to be in control. So thank you so much for checking in with me today. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at the same time on closer to 12 o'clock. Hopefully, I won't have those technical challenges that I had starting today. But great seeing you, great speaking to you. Love talking to you on Tuesday at noon for Thinking Tuesday. So take care and bye for now.